I'm Kim Kirk, and we're nearing the end of my list of 10 things I learned from Peter. We've already seen God gives us what we need to do what he calls us to do. Outcome doesn't always reflect effort. A perceived failure can actually be a great success. Even though we don't have it all together, God can speak through us. We don't know better than Jesus. Sometimes we just need to be silent. Don't judge by appearances. We need to think before we act. And number 9, forgiveness and effective service, though not perfection, are possible. I'm so thankful that our sin does not disqualify us from serving the Lord. If it did, none of us would be of any use to him. Not that he needs us, but he has chosen to give us the privilege to be a part of his kingdom impacting work. So our miserable failures or the ongoing sin that we struggle with, or if we, like Peter, deny Christ to save our own skin, none of these things will end our ministry. After the post-resurrection miraculous catch that we talked about yesterday, Jesus sat down and had breakfast with the disciples who were on that ship. And then we read this, John 21, verses 15 to 17. When they had finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you truly love me more than these?" "Yes, Lord," he said, "you know that I love you." Jesus said, "Feed my lambs." Again Jesus said, "Simon, son of John, do you truly love me?" He answered, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." Jesus said, "Take care of my sheep." The third time he said to him, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him a third time, "Do you love me?" And he said, "Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you." Jesus said, "Feed my sheep." During this beautiful encounter, Jesus calls Peter to service, to ministry, to the church of God, to the sheep of his pasture 3 times, to feed them and to tend to them. As mentioned in number 6 on our list, sometimes we just need to be silent. The threefold nature of this conversation is believed to counteract the 3 times that Peter denied Jesus. But just because Peter blew it in a big way did not mean he was relegated to the sidelines. In fact, the exact opposite was true. He became a powerful tool in the Master's hand, the leader of the early church. We saw what he did at Pentecost, the amazing message that he shared, the Holy Spirit shared through him, and 3,000 were saved. And we know that he penned 2 of the epistles of the letters in the scriptures. But that, unfortunately, none of those things exempted him from failing again from sin. We see this in Galatians 2, verses 11 to 13. When Peter came to Antioch, I opposed him to his face because he was clearly in the wrong. Before certain men came from James, he used to eat with the Gentiles, but when they arrived, he began to draw back and separate himself from the Gentiles because he was afraid of those who belonged to the circumcision group. The other Jews joined him in his hypocrisy, so that by their hypocrisy, even Barnabas was led astray. We've already seen in this series that Peter was given a vision and then called to go to the home of a Gentile, Cornelius, and share the gospel, the good news, and many were saved. In fact, all who attended that were saved. So he knew better than most that God had broken down that barrier that used to exist between the Jews and the Gentiles. And yet, fear got the better of him and led to the sin of hypocrisy. But even this did not end his service to the Lord. Our sin interferes with our relationship with Jesus. It impedes our ministry and it hurts our witness. But it happens because perfection is not possible this side of eternity. That's why God sent his son, Jesus Christ, to die on the cross for us. And he is always there to forgive us, restore us, and use us again for his glory. You won't want to miss the final thing that I learned from Peter. So I will see you back here again tomorrow.